yeah.
I saw a picture of you with Chewbacca.
Yes, I got to meet my princess.
I would love... Chewbacca's your princess?
Well, I mean, the big thing about Disney is going to see the princesses. I got to see Chewbacca.
Understood.
Okay.
Hey, what's up? On this episode, we talk about E-rate, we talk about cell phone bans, and we reveal who quit their job. Have a listen.
Live from the NTP studios, this is the K-12 Tech Talk podcast, episode 172. I am Josh, with you, as always, your host with the most. I was on the radio today, too, by the way. Mark is here. Hello,
That's
Mark.
a dying technology.
Hey, I haven't
No
introduced...
one listened. You and your mother, probably.
I haven't introduced you yet, and it was AM.
We're starting off spicy.
It was AM radio, too.
I haven't even got through the intros. They're already destroying Josh. Josh, you want me to, in my intro, you want to talk about how you ruined my morning with your radio?
I'll let you.
Hey,
Okay,
I'm on the
so
radio. Here's the link.
Yeah.
With me is Mark. You two can't. You can't.
It's the wrong link. Mark listened to country radio for an hour waiting on Josh's interview.
At least
it was the right link. There was just three radio stations on there.
And so I asked you, which radio station are you going to be on? Is it this one? And you're like, yeah.
No, I didn't respond. I was in the studio. You can't respond when you're in the studio.
For our listeners, we will post the text conversation so you can see for yourself. And but just so you're aware, I sat in Boston and listened to country music for over an hour, waiting for Josh to show up any minute. And he didn't, because he was on a different radio station.
They have three radio stations.
Yeah. So anyways, that's
Rude.
Mark. It's Mark. I'm here.
And Chris is back. Hey, Chris.
Hey, what's up? What up? I'm back.
Oh, I did say yes, didn't I? I just went back and looked. Oh, yeah, I did say yes. Chris is back. So do we get into the elephant in the room, the poll?
The roaring elephant.
Well, that I think we tease it, but then
okay, yeah, let's tease it. So
you got to listen to the whole episode if you want to find out.
Yes, yeah, way to drive that listenership, Mark. So yes, last week Mark announced that he had spent time on a poll, I guess during college, and then that led us into the idea of releasing the poll of who quit their job in the last month. And one of us did indeed quit their job. The poll, who is winning the poll? Was it Chris? Still?
It was a good margin. Chris, everybody thinks that Chris has quit his job. So we'll find out if they're right.
At the end of the episode. Yep. So just some quick housekeeping. I just returned from the MS ISAC, EI ISAC conference.
Underlay, mama, EI, oh. You did not hear that song, Mark, did you?
He didn't hear that song on the boot.
Nelly, you know Nelly?
Oh, no, I got that.
St. Louis native.
That. Yeah. But what does that have to do with MS ISAC?
EI ISAC.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to draw the dots. You got to connect the dots, Mark.
So yeah, I felt like last week when it was just the two of you that there was a lot more. What's the word? Like continuity, like Mark maintaining the thing.
Chris is totally making up for not being here.
There were a lot more adult styled jokes and content. I will say,
I agree with that as well.
More spicy.
Yeah. So Josh,
can I talk now? Okay. So went to the MS and EI ISAC meeting in sunny, humid, the gates of hell, Orlando, because it was so hot. There were, I think they said 900 attendees there, which is crazy to me. The first day I had lunch with the CISO from Guam and the CISO from Pasadena, California. And then, Mark, I met some friends of yours, Steve from Beaverton School District out in Oregon. And then ran into our buddy Neil, who from New Hampshire, who has been on with us several times.
Mark's friends. There's only two.
Yeah, Steve and Neil. And then Will Blaylock, one of the guys that we interviewed at COSIN about doing a hot wash, a debrief session. He was there. So I ran into several people. It was good content. For the listeners that don't know, MSISAC stands for the Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center. It's a function of CI Securities, the Center for Internet Security, who is funded by Homeland. So they deal with cyber initiatives for state and local governments, and K-12 is considered a part of local government. So it was great. And as we talked about a couple times, a couple of weeks ago, I guess I was elected to the executive committee for MSISAC. So I got to meet some of the other executive committee members, as well as the outgoing chair, Arnold Kishi. He's been with MSISAC for 20 years, which is amazing. So a lot of it was election based, and
Wonder why.
Jen Easterly was there in person. She talked a little bit about how the last several elections have been very secure elections. There has been no voter fraud, no deleting of
Josh,
votes.
we agreed no politics.
Well,
We
I'm
agreed
just
no
saying,
politics.
I'm just repeating what she said.
Okay.
And then
Interesting.
her special advisor, Kate Connolly, gave a closing address, and she was very more rabble rouser. Let me just say, Kate Connolly, I'm gonna cuss here, Chris. Total badass. Like her pedigree, her work history. She saw combat. She worked for the National Security Council for a while for cyber. Total, just awesome, and gave a great talk.
I like
To wrap out.
rabble rouser. That's
Rabble
not
rouser?
really. I don't really muster that thing up ever.
So, long story short, if you are in K-12 and you are halfway interested in cyber, just hardcore cyber stuff, go to MSISAC meeting next year. It's June, I think, 22nd to the 25th. It's in Tucson, Arizona.
Oh,
Yeah. So, absolutely go. Highly recommend it.
now where was it at this round again?
I already talked about that.
Did you get to hit up Disney?
It
We
was at,
did.
it was at
Yes.
Mar-a-Lago.
Mark. Yeah, there were all sorts of documents everywhere there.
If you would do me this, you went
rephrase
to
that,
Disney.
please. Rephrase that, please.
If you would flatter my question here.
Okay.
You went to Disney and you did the Star Wars stuff.
Oh yeah.
I saw a picture of you with Chewbacca.
Yes, I got to meet my princess.
I would love Chewbacca's your princess?
Well, I mean, the big thing about Disney is going to see the princesses. I got to see Chewbacca.
Understood.
Okay.
I was wondering if you could make a Chewbacca noise.
No, I can't. Corey used to be able to do that. I think he actually did that on an episode once. No, well, I do not make Chewbacca noises, but the whole interaction with Chewbacca was just absolutely amazing.
Did you get teary-eyed or anything with it?
No, I didn't get teary-eyed, but I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with Chewbacca and writing. Let me just say, what the producer is saying that I was smiling very, very big when we met Chewbacca. The Rise of the Resistance ride was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, that's enough of you're gonna make fun of me Alaska trip. So yeah, go to the MSISAC next year.
Wow. First up, we got VIZOR. Do a demo and get your VIZOR podcast shirt or hoodie along with it. Also, VIZOR is going to be at Midwest Tech Talk. That's coming up here in July pretty quickly. So go to MidwestTechTalk.com. You can still register for a late registration. Do that thing. VIZOR. VIZOR.
Flipping over the news. Actually, we are going to turn it back over to Josh because the big headline this week really is that FCC has released more details on the cybersecurity pilot. We're starting to see a lot more details come out, and people are starting to generate ideas for how they might apply and what they might do. So now we're seeing conversations online with school districts finally starting to think about how they're going to take advantage of this. Josh, we sent you as our liaison from the podcast to the FCC's webinar today.
I prefer the term roving reporter.
We sent you as a roving reporter to the webinar that went on today, and let's separate this conversation.
Rabble reporter.
The rabble report. Let's separate the conversation into two parts. Part one, quality of the presentation, and then question two, content.
They're both the same. I would rate them as a big cluster, both of them. So it was, first of all, my first complaint is the webinar was based in GoToMeeting. And this is 2024. I should not
Uh-huh.
have to download a damn client to join a webinar or just a presentation in 2024. I had to download the stinking GoToMeeting client and install it on my machine to join this thing. Okay. Complaint number one, ridiculous.
Well, yep.
I don't even have to do that with Teams. Like plus
I
one for
agree. I
team,
agree. I
plus
agree.
for Teams there. Um, Second, okay, so I get in and it says, the meeting will start soon. It says that like every 22 seconds. It got really annoying. So I know my audio was working, right? Because the thing is saying you've joined. It will start soon every 22 seconds. Might have been 21. The thing starts, it's presentation screen, title slides up. I'm doing a couple other things going on my machine because it's first day back, a lot of stuff going on. And I don't hear anything for a while. I get distracted. I'm like, wait, did that webinar ever start? Or are they still waiting? And they were on like tab 3 or screen slide number 3. Um, and they're talking. It's got live transcription going on, and there's no audio. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Why don't I have audio? So I did the test my audio. It was working. I start messaging the presenter, hey, no audio, no audio, no audio. I joined by phone, no audio. So I message in one of the group chats we're in, Chris, and I said, is anybody in this stinking meeting and getting audio? Everybody replied, nope, no audio. I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
So then the presenter has the gall to reply to me and says, drop and rejoin. That'll fix the problem. Okay. I drop, can't rejoin, session full.
Oh,
Yeah. So then at 3:38 this afternoon,
hang
they
on a
send it.
second. We paid you to go to this webinar. Are you
Yeah, I
telling
know.
us that you didn't?
No, I attended. It's
Okay,
not my
okay,
fault.
all right, keep going.
That
Did this
check's
also
getting.
make you flashback to like middle school days when like you didn't get picked for the team and stuff? Oh,
I
sorry,
I
team's
always
full.
I always got picked. So then at like 3:38 this afternoon, they sent out an email, uh, subject rescheduling schools and libraries cybersecurity pilot program webinar. We apologize for the technical difficulties many experienced today. We will reschedule this web. Like, okay.
It's a bummer.
So high and low of it, they are moving forward. One of the slides I saw said it made it look like they are basing the allocation similar to regular E-rate based off student count, which is cool. One of the slides I saw specifically mentioned covering next gen firewalls and EDRs,
Jackpot.
some response and mitigation. It didn't really say what that meant. I assume that means kind of SOC as a service, maybe. Um, so hopefully
What
they'll send.
about what about backups?
I would say no. I mean, that's a normal business tool. That's not necessarily a cyber tool to me.
On a K-12 sysadmin, there was also a question about video surveillance systems.
I would assume that'd be a hard no. That's more cops grant than
Yeah.
E-rate cyber grant.
Yeah.
Mark, I know you have strong feelings about what classifies as threats and whatnot. So what do you think backups?
Well, I think backups could be under a couple of things that could be looked at as an eligible service. I think it all depends on how you're going to sell it. If you're just going to submit an application that just says, I'm going to make a backup copy of my files,
Yeah.
don't expect to get anything out of that. But I think if you can make a strong case for it, it could fall under an eligible service, and I think you could make it work.
Yeah. I would deny backups.
You would, okay, Josh.
Wow. Mr. MS Isaac has an
Well,
opinion,
no.
thinks he's moving up
Yeah.
with power.
Oh my God, the guy got on the
Shut up.
executive committee and he just says
Shut
no
up.
to
Okay,
everything.
Mr. GCCCCC.
Mr. Rebel.
Backups are a normal business function. That's not a cybersecurity thing.
Yes, sir, Mr. Isaac, sir.
What? What?
Can you go back to youth camp, Chris?
I did. We didn't talk about this, but I literally just walked. This is how much I love you guys. I've spent a week in Oklahoma with middle school and high school students
Oklahoma, where the
at a church camp thing. I literally just pulled up to my house. I walked up here. I put these headphones on.
And you said I got a bone to pick with Josh. I'm gonna rib him for the next hour.
Listen, all week I've been doing like lots of sarcastic jokes at the middle school
We
kids.
can tell.
You make
Yeah,
fun of them to relate to them.
got it. Okay.
You make fun of your youth pastor
No,
kids.
not really.
Oh,
I haven't really done any of that, and I just want to get it all out.
Got it. Okay. I'd say to kind of close up this segment though on the cybersecurity pilot, there's the
is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. You can see more details of what is eligible. There's a pretty generous list of services. I would say my kind of feedback in looking at this thing is to really have a strong case. I don't think you're going to see the number of accepted applications that we do with normal E-rate applications or with even if we go back to the emergency broadband fund or some of the different COVID funds. I don't think this is going to be as easy to get. So if you are applying, I think you need to have a strong case, and the more you can have yourself be a little bit more unique, rather than just saying, "Oh, I want to do next gen firewalls because I think they're great." Everybody's going to put in a next gen firewall submission. What are you going to do to make yours a little bit unique? So,
So, I, in that same vein, Mark, I wonder if they will be putting priority on districts. Like, if I submit a request for funding for EDR, I already have EDR on my devices. I just want to cover that cost. I wonder if they will be prioritizing districts that don't have EDR, can't afford it, but they want it. And that's I would like this request to be able to purchase EDR because we've never had it. My guess would be
yeah.
yes, that would be the priority when they're weighing things.
Yeah, this is a pilot. They're trying to see what works and what doesn't work. And if you're going to say, I'm already doing this thing, please just give me money to cover it. And so I can
Right.
use my money on something else, that would be like a hard no for any grant, especially this one. So do not openly start your application by saying, I have this. It's just super expensive. Can you help me out? Nope, not a good move for any grant application, especially not this one. So.
It'll be interesting to see it play out.
Yep. The only other news thing that we have, although this is taking over the news waves quite a lot right now, related to K-12, and I think this is going to be the conversation of the summer, especially into the fall, is cell phone bans. So over last
And
week,
whatever you're about to say is brought to you by Managed Methods. Check out ManagedMethods.com.
Mark, I really think we flowed much better without him.
yeah,
I know you guys miss me.
Cell phone bans. So last week we heard that LAUSD voted to approve a cell phone ban for all schools, and so now the Los Angeles counties or the Los Angeles Independent School District of school district of 500,000 students will not allow cell phones. I think this is coming in January. So we're already seeing this at the state levels as well. In recent weeks, New York State has come out with a proposed cell phone ban, and numerous other states are talking about it at the state level. So I know at least my state has talked about not necessarily a cell phone ban, but the harms that cell phones have in schools. So it's something I think we need to be prepared for in our world. I would be the first to say, a cell phone ban is not necessarily the role of the technology departments, but I think it's in our best interest to start to be involved in these conversations and keep an eye on them in case people do start to look at more technical solutions for that. And more importantly, when you ban cell phones, you need to start to look at other options for MFA for students, knowing that they're not going to be able to rely on a cell phone. So Clever and ClassLink have come out with their student-friendly MFA, which I think is perfect time with all the conversation about cell phones. So
Get on it, Google. So let's kind of discuss this point counterpoint cell phone ban thing. Mark, have you talked to your friend, we won't name names, out at LA about this?
I have not had a chance to talk to Sohail. No.
Okay. Um, I really wonder if it's I've been doing some reading on this. Is it going to be a ban where kids, period, can't bring it to school? Or is it it needs to be put away like they've got one of those yonder pouches or something while it's at school, and then during lunch or certain times you can get it at non-instructional times, let's say, you can have it. I don't know what the right answer is. I will absolutely agree with the statement that cell phones are a distraction in the instructional setting during class period, whatever. But to take the stance of a kid can't bring it in to school, then are you setting up kids leaving their phone in their car, and then those cars are ripe to be broken into and have their phone stolen? That's first thought. If it's a scenario where the kid can bring it in and the teacher is responsible for securing the device each hour, so you're going to tell a teacher that she's got to be responsible for upwards of $30,000 worth of pocket-sized technology for an hour, several hours of the day? Like I said, I don't know what the right answer is there.
So all the above. I don't know the specifics. I haven't read the details of policy, but my understanding is that it is up to the campus level to determine how that's going to happen. So that could be something like a yonder pouch. That could be something where the student is just asked to put it away or to keep it in their locker. But they're not necessarily saying we're going to roll out these cell phone pouches across the district. So it
Yeah.
will look a little different in each school, and I think that's fine too. A ban of a cell phone at the elementary level is different than how you're going to handle it at a high school. So
Sure.
Yeah, I just pulled up like their like the actual wording, and it's prohibiting the use of cell phones during normal school hours or school activities, excluding lunchtime or nutrition, unless the school has adopted a stricter policy.
Okay.
However, implementation of the existing cell phone policy varies by school site, sometimes from classroom to classroom. So they're making it linear.
yeah,
So
that makes sense.
they're going to allow it during lunch, which
Unless
to
the
me,
school says otherwise.
almost ensures like a yonder pouch or something like that. But again, that gets into a who's responsible
Yeah.
to say, okay, kids, you're walking in the door, put it in the yonder pouch, let's lock the pouch. And then at the end of the day, kids are in big hurries to get out of the building. Who's going to stand in line to have the yonder bag or the yonder pouch unlocked?
Yeah. I think, I've talked to some schools in our district that have cell phone bans, and even if you do have the yonder pouches, kids will put in a fake phone into that thing, and then they've got their real phone in their pocket. What they've described though is you're not necessarily trying to curb an individual student, you're trying to curb the entire school community's problem of cell phones. And that's, so do you have a student or two who's abused it or found a way around it? Sure. But then they're on Facebook alone, or
Right.
they're not on
Right.
Facebook, but
Snap.
they're on their, they're on their social media platforms, and everybody else is still in school. So I think that's kind of the general mentality, is it's about curbing not an individual student's cell phone addiction, but the overall problem at the school.
Hmm.
Kind of interesting in this policy under the social media part, not the top piece of cell phone, but the social media part. It talks about second semester of next year. There's like 6, 7 points here, and one of them is consider options for cell phone storage, including locked pouches and or cell phone lockers, taking the needs of local school communities and stakeholders into account. So they've put that under the social media aspect to try to reel that in.
Okay.
Interesting.
So
Speaking of social media, and I don't know that we've talked about this yet. A couple weeks ago, Twitter changed their terms of service to specifically call out and allow pornographic images and video. Do you guys see predict a shift in school districts relying on Twitter for announcements, school closings, that kind of thing?
no,
You don't think?
no, because, well, I think Twitter's general problems in general, or sorry, we keep calling it Twitter, and every time you see it even mentioned, it's X, formerly known as Twitter.
Sure. Right.
I think they got bigger problems with adoption, but Twitter X already allows it. It's already very prevalent on the social media. They're just kind of codifying it in their policy.
Yeah, but devil's advocate here, Mark. A district that the superintendent or whoever makes the call to call off for a snow day. I don't know if you guys get snow days up there in New England. the stance of, oh, follow my Twitter account because that's where I announce it first. So you're pushing kids to Twitter to get the be the first to see the no school thing. Does that continue? Because by pushing kids there, you're kind of opening that door, and now it's in the terms of service spelled out that they specifically allow it. It is that line a little grayer?
I I think you have to separate the two issues. It's like you're talking about the operational running of the district, where it's your primary communication is adult to adult, or school staff to adults in that situation. I think what we're talking about here is the impacts of social media on children, on children's growing minds. So I don't think that a ban on cell phones in schools is going to lead to or change anything around how the district communicates.
No. I'm sorry. I was seeing these as two separate issues. I brought up the Twitter thing as a
Yeah.
separate
Sorry. What
as
even the
separate.
even the pornography thing, I don't think it's really going to impact it. Because I don't think that policy change is going to impact how adults use it.
No, it won't. But I'm just from the standpoint of telling kids this is where you see it first, kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm making more of it.
Our social media presence and our radio station stuff or TV announcements and all that is for parent guardian. I think we still really tell kids, like, you're checking your email, you're getting your text message. Like, those are the two approved ways of communication that we do with students, and everything else is for the adult.
Sure.
The only reason I don't think it matters is because I would guess that when you're talking about like a school closure, 90% of your community finds out from other people.
Oh,
Like that text message or that
sure.
the not the
Tweet.
text message, but the tweet, a handful of people got it and then retweeted it and
Oh,
reposted
sure.
it and put it
Sure.
on their Facebook, and it spread. So
Yeah. I don't know. It's been a discussion. I'll just say that.
Why did Elon? So he had tweet, which was he made a word his thing. Like like that was what he bought. Like he became the brand. Why is it a post? Why did he change the name to X? And it's a post.
He has a compunction, obsession with the letter X. It's very well documented.
Yeah, I did read the book.
Yeah. Okay, Mark, what else we got?
Anyway,
we have a listener. Actually, it's a listener when it was a conversation with me, not necessarily a listener email, but a conversation that somebody had with me about the episode you guys had 2 weeks ago, where you talked about the athletic director who wanted to put the sprinkler and the garage door on the network.
mm,
The question I was asked, and I said I would ask you guys on the show tonight, what specific threat are you worried about in either the sprinkler system or the garage door that causes you to block those services from your network or those devices from your network?
Um, to me, I think it gets back to that IoT thing riding on the network. We have yet to embrace other IoT devices that would be in that similar vein. Now, granted, we do have network connected HVAC system, but I think that's maybe a little different, maybe not. But I mean, you can guarantee that garage door opener and probably the sprinkler management thing is a consumer grade device, not a industrial operational technology device. I think that's a completely different conversation. Completely different conversation.
Okay, but I'm gonna push you even further.
Go ahead.
It's a consumer grade technology. It's designed for someone's home network. What specific threat are you worried about?
IoT's the boogeyman, Mark.
I'm worried about, like, bad guy, like hacker. Like, those devices tend to be the chintzier designed, more easily compromised things that are out there that aren't patched as well, if ever. That's the concern. If I have to open that thing up on my firewall, that's going to be the cracked window that the bad guy got into.
So the reason this question was asked was because there are times where we've been asked to put stuff on the network that we've either said no to or we overruled on it. And the reason this person is asking about what's the specific threat is because if you are put in a situation where you have to add something to the network that you disagree with, an IoT, a garage door, a sprinkler system, what can you do to make it a little less risky, a little safer? But in order to do that, what is the specific threat that the garage door is going to have other than it just being a consumer, or I'm nervous about it, or I don't like it?
I think the only way discussion going forward, if you want to be that person that let me back up a sec. If you want to accommodate the request, I think the only way that you could do that is if you had um a ACL'd off or firewalled off complete separate VLAN network that it could not touch anything else on your production network. I think that's a lot of work to do for a garage door opener that it to me is a nicety, a luxury to have that feature, not a it's not a student safety issue, it's not a mission critical issue, it's not that's a nice to have thing to me. Unless it could be proven otherwise.
I give it. I'm for that. Remember that the example of the coach.
Yeah.
He's just trying to mow the grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no,
I'm
not
for
mow
it.
it. He's trying to water it, not mow it.
I'm for it.
Yeah,
I give it.
I wouldn't be upfront. No.
Well, look, I think we're all going to be in a situation where we have to add something to the network. Josh, I agree wholeheartedly with what you described around like VLAN it off so that,
Mhm.
these technologies that don't get patched, they don't get updated, they might get compromised or whatnot, or they might become a beacon for somebody calling into your network, keeping it separate on the VLAN.
And
The the other thing I would add to that though is, these consumer grade technologies don't usually allow or enforce single sign-on. So I would add sit down with a coach and say, do not use your district password on this.
yeah,
Because if this device does get compromised, then somebody's got your credentials and they're going to try it somewhere else. So I think even sitting with a coach and letting them know, or the person who's using it, hey, this is consumer grade. This is really concerning of ours. I need you to treat it with very care.
and I was just gonna bring that up. Who's because most of those things, when you create an account, you tie it to an email address as the login. Whose email address is it getting tied to? And what happens when that AD leaves 2 years from now? Now what? There's just a lot of it's all consumer type
He's just
related issues.
Chris. He's just saying no.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's Dr. No.
Mm-hmm.
The bummer again is that this was technology purchased without tech department involvement, and then we were asked to put it on the network.
Yeah.
So there's a big picture thing going on here. But yeah, Josh, we agree to disagree.
Well, you're way nicer than me. That's what it comes down to. I'm a gray, weathered, hardened, old jerk, and I've been in the game probably twice as long as you.
What sucks about like the
Oh.
sprinkler system is like it's not even like you can be like, well, we can get this pinned down to like when you're at home, you can turn it. Like the whole point of it is the idea
Right.
of it's raining
Right.
outside and he turns it off.
Convenience.
So he's gonna be anywhere. So the crack in the window is an allow all rule for outside to come into hopefully your segmented stuff, but you're still like, if you're gonna be nice, you might as well be nice. That's what he's wanting. He's wanting to be able to be on the road. It started raining. He turns off the sprinkler system. That sucks.
Yeah. Mark, who did that discussion come from? Was that James from Sheboygan again, or
No, it was a colleague of mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Anything else, Chris? Any other topics of discussion?
Extreme Networks, a proud sponsor of the K-12 Tech Talk podcast. Email dmayer@extremenetworks.com. That's about all I have.
It's that time of year. Tomorrow I am disabling accounts of people that have left and starting to move, our building move of the grades that shift buildings. I'm going to start disabling senior accounts and migrating all that stuff over.
I had someone say, hey, could I keep my account longer because I booked a vacation next year? Yep.
with their school account. Oh, that's amazing.
I
And
said no. I said no, sorry.
they're retiring, I guess. Wow,
Yes.
that's amazing.
You know, speaking of disabling accounts,
Uh-oh. Oh,
I think
are we
I
ripping the
think
Band-Aid off here?
I think we need to get to the results of the poll.
Here
Okay.
we go.
So, Josh or Chris, you want to pull up the poll and read us the results? The
And the
question, as you're doing that, the question for us was on last week's episode. Josh and I announced that one of the three of us has officially quit or left their district, or not left,
not
but
left. Yeah.
put in their resignation. And so we put a poll up to say who of the three of us has left their district or is in the process of leaving their district. Chris, what are the results?
Here was the question. One of the members of the K-12 Tech Talk podcast quit his job.
Mark just said this.
Hey, it's hype. Who do you think it is? 3 choices. Chris, Josh, Mark. Coming in last place after 6 days of votes, 25% Josh.
Yeah, I'm dedicated. People know I'm dedicated.
Next up, 32% of the vote, Mark. 43% think it's me.
Wow.
Give us a couple of the good comments of the most popular comments on there, Chris.
Jeff on K-12 Tech Pro says, I'm split between Mark and Chris, but landed on Chris because of Infinite Campus.
Oh,
Mark could have totally gotten a better job. He used to be a teacher, you know.
Oh,
I thought it was funny that I think a couple of people were like, "Yeah, Infinite Campus is gonna do Chris in." But
okay. Yeah, I could see it. Chris, we haven't had a complaint about Infinite Campus this week either. We've been off for a week. I guess
Yep. No
there's
cell
no
phone
complaint.
reception. Matt on K-12 Tech Pro said, Mark, he's been MIA recently.
Is that the comment that I replied to and got made fun of for misspelling permanent?
Permanent. Yep.
Yeah.
probably.
Eric said, not Eric the intern, another Eric said, I'm thinking it's Chris. I remember that Infinite Campus transition last summer, and it almost had me running for the door a few times. Our previous director left in the middle of our last SIS transition.
You know, it's funny. I had a conversation with a couple people at MSISAC, not that work there, but the attendees about SIS transitions, and every one of them said, I will not do another one. I don't care who they were going from and to. Every person said, I will not do another SIS transition.
Well, I said that same thing about 10 years ago, Josh. I said I will not do another assist transition. And
Was
guess
that
what?
you're not?
I'm not doing another assist transition.
What are you trying to say, Mark?
Why is that, Mark?
I have officially stepped down from my position in my school district, and I will be transitioning out of the school district this summer.
When's your last day, Mark?
I have timed it very well so that July 19th will be my last day, and then the very next day I get on an airplane to MidwestTechTalk. So
That's great timing.
You're not
Yeah.
driving? You're not driving there?
no. So yeah, I have put in my notice, and I'm in the process of kind of cleaning out the school year and helping people to transition to the summer and starting
Cleaning
to
out your
document
office
things.
is what you're doing.
Got to clean out my office. I haven't started that yet. I've got my Josh bobblehead.
I was gonna say, has the Josh
Yep,
bobblehead made it home yet?
yeah. It's really bittersweet. I have been in my school district for 17 years, and I have been in my position as CIO for 11. I think it's no secret that I work for the Boston Public Schools, so I can say that now publicly. And
You do?
I do. And I love my district. I love working there. I love all the people that I work with. I think I have the best team in the country when it comes to K-12 technology. And it was very, very hard to say goodbye, and I can't even tell you how nervous I was to announce it to my team. I still am. I still struggle going to the office. But 11 years in this job, as you guys know, is a long time, and I'm ready for the next step, whatever that is.
What is the next step, Mark?
Well, that's the other thing. I do not have plans. I have a wonderful wife who supported me, and when I said I think it's time for me to go, she was on board.
She kicked you out?
She she's like that. I will call you a freeloader after a few months, but you've got a little bit of time. And so yeah, I'm transitioning out. I'm being very intentional about not doing anything, and I think people are reading into it different ways. They're like, oh, it's so bad that he's got to go and he doesn't have any plans. It's not at all the truth. I have lived and breathed this job for the last 11 years, and you guys all know that it's you wake up and you check your email,
Yeah.
and you go to bed and you check your email. And I'm used a couple of vacation days this week and found myself just answering emails and answering chats. And I was at the doctor's office today and answered a chat while the doctor was trying to talk to me. And I've got to get my mind off of that. I got to get my mind out of that like zero separation of work.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm leaving. But every day I
You know what
struggle.
would help you do that? Take an Alaskan vacation where there's no cell service.
Chewbacca.
You,
A hug from Chewbacca.
I'll I'll tell you this. I was
When you come in July to Midwest Tech Talk, me and Josh are gonna wear Chewbacca t-shirts and give you a big hug.
We should hire those Star Wars actors, Chris, to come in.
Come here, Mark.
A couple of weeks ago, I went on a trip, and it wasn't the free Wi-Fi on the airplane. I was flying across country and there was no Wi-Fi. And that was the most stressful like 6 hours. And I
Yeah.
got off being like, I can't do this. Like when I land, what am I gonna open my cell phone up to? What kinds of issues? And that stress of not being able to get to my email was probably more stressful than reading my email.
So you're gonna drive for Uber now, is what you're saying?
Not gonna lie. I did have a conversation last night about being maybe a temporary bartender at a local bar.
Oh,
So
that would be
might,
cool.
yeah, I might do that. I was over with some colleagues at a local pub, and turns out our formal legal advisor is bartending tonight. So if you can go from lawyer to bartender, I think I can do it as well. I might do that. Maybe a barista. Who knows?
I think you might
Oh,
work
I
at like
could.
Lowe's, like get into like lumber.
Yeah.
Hammer.
I think Mark could be an Uber. Mark could be an Uber driver. Yep, 100%.
I hate driving. I
Could we
hate
do
driving.
a poll in the or like the
Yes,
maybe
what's
we
Mark's
should-
new job? Yep.
we just take entries?
Yeah.
Yeah. We take
Yeah.
entries, we get the top 10, and then the people vote, and that's it. You got to do
Yep.
it.
Ooh, this sounds like a Jimmy Kimmel skit. Or yeah.
Can I be your tech?
You now work for Chris and Josh
Oh man, that would be amazing. I just-
forever.
Get nothing done.
Yeah, that's true.
But we don't email. We only write you letters. So you're always checking the mailbox.
Always checking the mailbox instead of his phone for his email. Every day he runs out to the mailbox. Any tickets today?
And I run back with, I got a ticket.
Josh Roberg.
We need to send him an edible arrangement, Chris, on his last day.
Like
No.
flowers that you eat?
No, weed, edible arrangement.
No, we're not on the same page.
All right. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen? It's almost time for an outside entertainment event tonight.
Just one thought. I do need work. So gonna if you have a job,
There is a K-12 Tech Pro job board. We could make an unemployment board.
oh yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea. An unemployment board. Yeah. Mark's unemployed.
It just
Find him a
has
job.
one member and it's me.
Mark, I had heard a rumor that you were going to go work for the Biden administration.
I want a stress-free job, so I think politics is the worst thing, but
Mark, you know this. We are excited for you and we wish you the best and blah blah blah. You're not right now we're not kicking you off and you don't plan on leaving the pod.
no. And I will say this, I forgot to say the most important part. I'm not leaving the industry. I'm not leaving K-12 technology. It is my passion. I've enjoyed every minute of talking to the two of you guys who are in the other side of the country, and we're doing the same thing, or we're enjoying the same thing and having the same conversation. So I'm going to stay in K-12 technology. I'm going to stay. This is my passion. Whether or not I do another school district,
Doesn't sound like it.
I don't think that's in the cards.
We're gonna see Mark pop
we're
up as
already reeling him back in.
T-Mobile hotspot salesperson, Mark. For schools. It's E-ratable now, guys.
When you get a phone call, it's like, "Hi, this is Mark from the K-12 Tech Talk podcast. I'd like to talk to you about your extended car's warranty, your car's extended warranty." Yeah, that's it. I know I'm going to stay in the industry. What I do and how I do it, I don't know. So yeah, I need a job.
You could be a para. You could be a custodian. You don't need to check your email for that.
We'd say teaching, but we know that you weren't a very good teacher.
Whoa.
Wow.
I was just kidding. That joke was brought to you by Fortinet. Email fortinetpodcast@fortinet.com.
Maybe they have a salesperson opening, Mark.
Mark doesn't do it. He doesn't like sales.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
I am not doing sales. I can't. And don't come at me and say, well, I'm going to sell solutions. Nah, I'm not a salesperson. That's very clear. I don't do that stuff. So anyways,
get on K-12 Tech Pro. Chris is going to make a post out there about what's Mark's new job, and make a comment. Tell us what you think Mark's new job should be.
Let's just drag this out.
And maybe we'll announce his new job, what the winning thing is at K-12 Tech Talk, and go get him a job at the lake. That could be fun.
Boat driver.
Uber driver at the lake.
Yeah.
Do you know how to skateboard?
I can learn.
I got an idea. I'll put it on the poll.
All right. That was episode 172. Chris is back. It's a train wreck. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Oh, we may not be here next week. 4th of July, right?
For sure, no. Recap or whatever. What's that? What would we call that? Something fun. An oldie but a goodie episode.
Oh, an oldie but a goodie. Okay. We'll do something. We'll be on vacation next week, so it won't be a new episode. But thanks for listening. We'll see you in 2 weeks. We might not be the same. You share the same pain that I do.
The views and opinions expressed on the K-12 Tech Talk podcast are the personal opinions of Josh, Chris, and Mark, and do not represent the views or opinions of our sponsors or other organizations that we're affiliated with. The material and information presented here is for general information and entertainment purposes only. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. We were buying words about the phrase of the way and selling songs just as